In coming days, we will see the greatest manifestations of the Savior's power that the world has ever seen. Between now and the time he returns with power and great glory,
Travis Wayne Goodsell. On December 15th, 1791, the states in the Union ratified the Bill of Rights. And Article 1 states, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably to assemble. Right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. And so, according to Justia, an establishment of religion clause means that Congress cannot pass laws which aid one religion or aid all religions or favor one religion over another. It has to be separated, church and state. Religions are on their own. They are not to receive federal aid, because that would be violating Article 1 of the Constitution. And so there shouldn't be any religious freedom movement to push Congress to pass laws that would favor religious freedom. In the Doctrine and Covenants, Jesus Christ, that's what Mormons believe, tells Joseph Smith that the law of the land, which is constitutional, supporting that principle of freedom in maintaining rights and privileges, belongs to all mankind and is justifiable before me. Therefore I, the Lord, justify you and your brethren of my church in befriending that law, which is the constitutional law of the land. And as pertaining to the law of man, whatsoever is more or less than this cometh of the devil. Evil. In section 101, in verse 77, after talking about importuning the government for redress and redemption for grievances, it says, according to the laws of and constitution of the people, which I have suffered to be established, and should be maintained for the rights and protections of all flesh. Flesh for fantasy. Should that be the theme song in the description below? It does. It's an ironic fit. according to just and holy principles, as we get going. And in verse 80 of section 101, and for this purpose. After talking about it is not right that any man should be in bondage one to another. That was in the Constitution when Jesus told Joseph Smith to write this. And for this purpose have I established the Constitution of this land. Because the Constitution allows for amendments to make sure that no man should be in bondage one to another. And thus it was done with that amendment. By the hands of wise men whom I raised up. Are they the men like Moses? It's them! Unto this very purpose, and redeemed the land by the shedding of blood. So why is the church doing the religious freedom movement? To have Congress make laws respecting an establishment of evangelical Mormon religion. Even though they claim it's for all religions. But again, Justia made it very clear. No laws by Congress beyond Article 1. No extra protections, no discriminatory laws based on religion. Nothing. And shall we get into the porn? Why is the church seeking to prohibit the free exercise of porn? Abridging the freedom of speech, which also the Supreme Court has ruled also involves expression. And thus, women who protest with bra burnings. That's an expression. That's petitioning the government for a redress of grievances. I guess we gotta let women burn bras. But yeah, pornography. Why is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that says that the Constitution was established? Is that the word? First he said he suffered it. Yeah. For this purpose, Jesus established the Constitution of the land. Jesus did it. And so thus the painting by Christians, not the church, of Jesus holding the Constitution. I think we should make sure that one also gets put in here. Jesus and Constitution. I know I've had previous videos where it was Nelson holding the Constitution that was on fire. That was a long time ago. Yeah, there's nothing new anymore. I have to wait for the church to pull some stunt to do new videos. I'm just rehashing the old stuff, and since you're all new, it's new to you. So why is the church on a frenzy about porn? That it's going to murder us. It's going to destroy us. destroy our lives and our wives and our children and our cars and our homes. Yeah. Well, why are they prohibiting the abridgment or trying to abridge the freedom of speech, which is extended now into book banning? Why is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints encouraging Mormons and Utah's legislature to ban books, regardless of the excuse they're giving? You are not allowed to abridge the freedom of speech. Why is the church? Well, Nelson came out and said peace, fulfilling the Micah prophecy, but came after, those who were being mean on social media posts and comments. What in the world makes people think that depriving people, abridging the freedom of speech of others with hate speech, with lies, constitutes freedom of speech? That's the excuse I'm getting. Oh, well, he lied about the 2020 election. Oh, he's got the freedom of speech, I guess. We have to let it go. YouTube's allowing those kinds of nonsense that caused a seditious insurrection to be put back on YouTube. Do they have freedom of speech to do that? No! Dumbasses. You can't abridge the freedom of speech, which means you can't lie, which means you can't bully other people. Because that's abridging the freedom of speech. And so the church can't abridge my freedom of speech for criticizing the church, for using the scriptures they claim belongs to them against them. Like I just did. The church cannot abridge my freedom of speech to criticize the church in YouTube posts, having ordered YouTube to ban me, to silence my voice through the algorithm manipulation, through destroying my website with the manipulation online, through the Google search algorithms. The church has no constitutional right. And then the press. Since when has a local Utah press ever really dug deep into investigating the crimes being committed by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? Oh, the Deseret News is owned by the church, and so too now is the Salt Lake Tribune. Oh. They've abridged the freedom of the press in Utah. When 60 Minutes came out earlier this year and trashed them for violating financial laws of the IRS, which apparently are not Congress, therefore the IRS can respect the establishment of 501c3s for religion, causing the complication. But the SEC fined the church for criminal violations of SEC rules. And so 60 Minutes covered it. And the church responded with, how could they do this to us? Well, you were committing crimes. You were covering it up. You were claiming you had a right when you don't. They were legitimate news. And the church thinks that nobody dares to molest or make them afraid? Anybody watch to the end of that video I did a few hours ago? Anybody? Anybody? The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints says that Lucifer is the one who teaches us that pornography is evil. And the Church of Jesus Christ teaches us that pornography is evil. So Lucifer teaches us that pornography is evil. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints teaches us that pornography is evil. Constitution, which Jesus established, allows for polygamy. Polygamy. Pornography. And so the church, for polygamy even, let's get on to that topic then. Now that I ruined the joke. Congress cannot grant religions to practice polygamy, the free exercise thereof, because that takes away the rights, other rights in the Constitution of women. It also respects the establishment of religion. No laws whatsoever can be made for or against any and all religions. And so there can be no law granting permission for polygamy. So that one FLDS branch-off group that got popular on a TV show, yeah, they've got to be punished according to the law because they're committing a crime with polygamy. Warren Jeff's church, they're practicing polygamy. They need to be punished. They only got them for child brides. They let the SNAP fraud violations go and have banned them from getting SNAP from here on out. And then they went and pulled the stunt of child labor. They're still not getting punished. See, the church never has gotten punished for anything that they've done wrong. The SEC finally did the required fine as written in the IRS laws. $5 million. That's why it was $5 million. Which is petty change for the church. And so the right of people to peacefully protest the church. What has Utah done about that? Well, we're domestic terrorists if we protest the church or the government. But we're talking about religion. The church. Yeah. Utah has made laws that if you want to protest the church during General Conference, you need to be in zoned areas and you have to get licensing and you have to be approved. And like the Gay Pride Parade, they were rejected to hold a Pride Festival. Was it St. George? And they took it to court and they won, and they got to have, or at least they're scheduled for a Pride Parade Festival thing. Because the government in St. George, I'm guessing, respected an establishment of religion or prohibited the free exercise thereof, because the church is anti-LGBTQ, and there are Mormons in the government. And so, yeah, it was a clear bigotry issue. And so people need to be granted access to the sidewalks, which is federal government property, in accordance with the Constitution, that there be postal roads and paths for the postal workers to deliver the mail. And so, despite having a subdivision home with, fences that lock people out, unless they have a code, the Postal Service gets eminent domain to deliver the mail. Your sidewalk is federal government property. Even though people put mailboxes right there at the corner so the postal worker can also deliver in their vehicle. That's why they're on the wrong side, that British way. But there are still places here in Utah where the Postal Service worker has to go into the property of a place, and so they have to use the driveway to get to the house where there's a mailbox there, or slip it through the door, or however the mailbox is designated in certain places. And here in this apartment, there's a mail room. They get access to that room to deliver my mail. All of that is federal property for the federal officers, and I know all about that. I was one. And guess what the church did to me as a federal officer in 2008? They don't care about this government and this Constitution. I petitioned for a redress of grievances to the state of Utah about the church. And the church ordered the Attorney General to arrest me for having petitioned the government for a redress of grievances against the church. They retaliated and ordered the government to do their will on me in violation of federal law, the United States Constitution, and the First Amendment. And I never had a court. No trial, no hearing. They disappeared me. They erased me from history. I'm not supposed to be here to be a thorn in the side of the church. They tried to murder me. And so it's very clear, like with porn, Lucifer wants to destroy the Constitution. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints wants to destroy the Constitution. Everything they are doing violates every single part of the article. And in so doing, they are hoping to destroy the Constitution by allowing bullies to abridge the freedom of speech of others, to allow an establishment of religion, to prohibit the free exercise of religions they disapprove of, to abridge the freedom of the press, to deny the right of people to peaceably assemble, to protest, and to deny any who sue them, petitioning the government for a redress of grievances. Plus, they own the judges and the lawyers, both on the prosecution and the defense. They're all Mormon, or they are associates, as it's called in the criminal mob organization structure. They're all paid up. They're all threatened with their jobs. Anybody remember the federal magistrate judge, Vernice, or not Vernice, she was the state one that locked me away. Forgetting her name. Shouldn't. No, not that. She's a state judge. I've forgotten her name. First. Is there a T or is it just the S? She was the first woman to be a magistrate judge in the Supreme Court. And she had just been hired. She'd been in her first tour, and she was up for review. She passed the initial test, and then Gaddy versus COP was brought before her. You're going, yeah, so what's that? Corporation of the President of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. She allowed it to proceed. She was doing her job. All of a sudden, the second wave of review by the Mormon boys, we found out that years ago you let a drug offender go to drug court. Oh no. And the drug court released him. He was supposed to be under watch, probationary watch, to help him detox and stuff, but because he was put into the drug court system, which is different than regular jail or prison time stuff, he then acquired a gun and murdered somebody. I think a cop even. Yeah, well, that's her fault now. They used that as their excuse to fire her. And she got replaced, and another woman who was more supportive for the church in her history was then brought in, and her first case was Travis Wayne Goodsell versus COP. And she quashed it. And so the second filing was the seditious conspiracy charge, which I am responsible for the January 6th. I warned them in advance that it was coming. They ignored me. They dismissed me. And it happened. And they think that using my case is going to make me feel better. They didn't go after the church, which paid for it through that secret combination group that are purposely designed and organized to destroy the Constitution and return to a monarchy. So not a single Mormon can dare tell me that their spiritual witness is true. You are nothing but liars. You didn't even bother to study your scriptures to learn what is blatantly obvious.